There have been a number of promos that have been performed on live TV over the past few days, where even the stars who are currently working for WWE have stated that WWE went too far for a number of occasions. It seems that when it comes to controversy, WWE is happy to allow some things to happen just so that the WWE Universe will be talking about the show afterwards. The following list looks at just 10 of the times when WWE allowed some of the most offensive promos to air on either SmackDown or Raw. Number 10. Vince McMahon reaches new levels of disgusting. Vince McMahon has been seen as something of a devil in WWE for a number of years. Vince McMahon found out that Paul Heyman had given The Undertaker time off ahead of Survivor Series. McMahon then stated that terrorists will burn down Undertaker's house, his children will be kidnapped. And then he went on to say the most repulsive thing we could ever possibly imagine. He told Heyman that this all needed to happen within 15 minutes, otherwise he was going to take Heyman out of the ring and strangle him. WWE was a different era back then, and obviously they could perhaps get away with much more than they can right now. But there's a feeling that a number of members of the WWE Universe were offended by this side of McMahon. Number 9. Paul Heyman and CM Punk mock Paul Bearer days after his death. Paul Bearer, the legend manager of The Undertaker for many years, sadly passed away in the build-up to that year's showcase of the Immortals, and the company decided to exploit his death by having Paul Heyman dressed up as Paul Bearer and mock the fact that he had died. It was in such bad taste that many of the WWE Universe were horrified that this was the level of that company that had allowed themselves to stoop to. Undertaker looked awkward whenever he was in the ring with Punk and Heyman, and the WWE Universe just felt uneasy watching the whole story untold. Number 8. Nikki Bella tells her sister she should have died in the womb. Sadly for Nikki and Brie Bella, neither twin was ready for the push that they were given in 2014 when their sibling rivalry was featured on both WWE TV and Total Divas. The turning point of the feud came when Jerry Springer visited WWE and tried to fix the rift between the sisters. But once again, Nikki attacked her sister and shouted, "I wish you died in the womb." It was one of the worst insults that have been ever used in a WWE ring, and one that has followed Nikki around ever since she said it. Most shocking of all, though, is that Brie forgave her after a few weeks and the women were able to work together again. Number 7. Dolph brags about giving Jerry a heart attack. Jerry, the King Lawler, is a legend in WWE as both a wrestler and commentator, and the WWE Universe was shocked and worried back in 2012 when Lawler suffered a heart attack as he commented on a live episode on Monday Night Raw. WWE decided to bring this into a storyline this year when Dolph Ziggler was trying to pick up cheap heat by attacking the King and claiming that he was responsible for something that could have killed him. If that wasn't far enough, Ziggler then ended the segment by delivering a kick directly to Lawler's chest just to hit his point home. JBL was at the ringside for this, and he was so disgusted by the events that he tried to intervene, but he fell over on his way to the ring. It seems that time and time again, WWE has shown that they only have one way of creating heat for a superstar, and it always leaves someone offended. Number 6. Chris Jericho's promo on CM Punk. Chris Jericho was doing promos even before it was common. He decided to play CM Punk at his own game when he brought in the fact that Punk's straight-edge lifestyle was built upon the fact that Punk's father was an alcoholic and he was never there for him when he was growing up. WWE basically glorified the fact that Jericho was pushing Punk towards alcohol because he wanted him to end up just like his father. Punk didn't look comfortable throughout the promo and perhaps suggested that WWE create something personal like this. But sadly, it just didn't connect like many other Punk storylines in the past. That means that Punk's dirty laundry was aired for nothing. Number 5. Big Show pulling down the Russian flag. Rusev had made a career out of mocking America. Ever since he came up to the main roster along with Lana, he had been put into a number of feuds with wrestlers. Despite all of this, Americans weren't offended or Rusev by threats that the Big Show stepped up and pulled down the Russian flag on an episode of Monday Night Raw. And suddenly, he became public enemy number 1. There were various complaints about the entire segment for weeks afterwards, as Russian people actually thought that this was a direct attack on them. It seems that, regardless of what WWE does, there are still many people who see WWE as real life. Number 4. Randy Orton mocks Eddie Guerrero's death. Eddie Guerrero's death back in November 2005 was one that came out of nowhere and affected the WWE Universe for a long time. The company did the right thing by pushing his best friend Rey Mysterio towards the World Championship following his death. Randy Orton can play face or heel quite convincingly, but back in 2006, when he was looking at a way to get back into the World Championship match at WrestleMania, he utters the words, "Eddie ain't in heaven, Eddie's down there in hell," to Mysterio. It was clear that WWE had stepped over the line. Many fans were outraged that the company would say such thing about one of their biggest stars. Number 3. Sergeant Slaughter's Gulf War heat. WWE has been known to use real-life situations as part of their storylines on many different occasions. But it seems that one of the worst times that they decided to do this was back in 1990 when Sergeant Slaughter returned to WWE after 5 long years away. Slaughter had decided to turn heel and was now using the current situation between America and Kuwait to his advantage. As he returned on the nation that once loved him to show him that he had sided with Saddam Hussein's country. American soldiers were dying as Slaughter mocked them on a regular basis with promos that made him a white-hot heel in the simplest possible way. But it was nothing sort of disgusting. Number 2. The entire Piggy James storyline. Being a female and growing up in a world that is dominated by pictures of how women should look and act is bad enough, without WWE deciding to point out that anyone who had a different shape to all of the other female wrestlers was classed as Piggy. The entire storyline that centered around Lay Cole and Mickie James was one of the most offensive and sexist promos that WWE has ever decided to put on their show. Mickie was apparently told that she needed to lose some weight by backstage officials, and when she refused, WWE made a storyline centered around this. WWE has no idea what kind of impact that has on the next generation, and this was just a terrible idea from start to finish. Number 1. Vince McMahon and Brian Pillman's widow. Why was this aired? Why did WWE decide to exploit the death of one of their biggest stars just 24 hours after it was announced that he had passed away? It was considered to be one of wrestling's darkest days when Vince McMahon decided to interview the widow of Brian Pillman the day after her husband had died. McMahon talked about Pillman's obvious problems throughout his life, including his problems with drugs, before later poking into how Melanie would cope up that she would have to raise her children alone. Unsurprisingly, she was unable to maintain her composure and broke down in tears throughout as the WWE Universe was forced to watch in horror as McMahon tried to spin ratings out of a real-life tragedy. This is perhaps one of the worst things that WWE has ever tried to exploit, and it's hopefully something that they will never try to do again. Well, that was just 10 of the times when dumbest WWE promos had embarrassed the whole WWE Universe. I hope you guys liked the video. If so, then surely press the like button and let us know in the comment section below that which was the worst promo out of the all. And at last, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. See you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.